From the Detroit Free Press, it's Monday, March 9th. Here are today's top stories. Brought to you by JB's Smokehouse, located inside Bush's Fresh Food Market of Canton. JB's offers a range of authentic barbecue favorites, and with more than 30 Michigan craft beers on tap, trivia, and live music every Friday night, JB's is sure to become your new favorite barbecue spot.
For the Detroit Free Press, I'm Darcy Moran. The novel coronavirus causing global alarm has left Michigan healthcare workers on high alert following a deadly outbreak at a nursing home near Seattle, Washington. Union leaders say limited sick leave makes workers stay on the job while ill in Michigan nursing homes. Also, low wages and poor health care mean they might not go to the doctor to get checked out. Speaking near a union protest for better wages Thursday in Dearborn Heights, nursing assistant Perry Lee Hayden said she worries about elderly patients. There have been no reports of coronavirus in Michigan, but Lynn Sutphin, a spokeswoman for the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, said nursing facilities can limit the spread if they encounter an outbreak. Recommendations include restricting visitors, quarantining patients, selecting certain staff to care for infected patients, and posting signage about prevention. Learn more about coronavirus concerns at freep.com.
For the Detroit Free Press, I'm Eric D. Lawrence. The massive Fiat Chrysler expansion on Detroit's east side also means a new landmark in the area, a giant wall. Built as a sound barrier, the more than $5 million concrete wall stretches almost a mile and a half, with only one break for Mack Avenue. At points, it stands 15 feet high. Some compare it unfavorably to the Berlin Wall, or even President Trump's border wall. Others prefer it to seeing the industry expanding nearby, and they point to it as one of the benefits negotiated with the company for the neighborhood. The wall is concrete white, but eventually it's supposed to be covered in ivy or artwork. The city and FCA have put out a call for artists to paint murals on sections of the wall, what will be Detroit's largest ever municipal art installation. Some artists, however, call it art washing, an effort to paint over the destruction of a neighborhood.
For the Detroit Free Press, I'm Angie Jackson. 40-year-old Daniel Jones plans to cast a ballot for the first time in next Tuesday's presidential primary election. Voting is a right he didn't have until recently. That's because he was in prison for more than 20 years, sentenced to life without parole at age 16. But Jones was resentenced and released last year. It's going to be refreshing just to know that I'm able to cast a vote and that my voice is going to make an impact, said Jones, who lives in Clinton Township. People with criminal convictions can vote after they've served their time, and people in jail awaiting trial can vote with an absentee ballot. Michigan is one of 16 states that automatically restores voting rights after incarceration. Still, formerly incarcerated people say that there's a misconception that their felony record will keep them from voting. There's still time to register to vote in next Tuesday's election. You can register at your clerk's office up until 8 p.m. on Election Day.
I'm Frank Witzel with the Detroit Free Press. Ready for March Madness? Detroit's 3 gambling casinos are, with on-site sports betting expected to go live Wednesday, just in time for the basketball tournament. It'll be a first for the state. The Michigan Gaming Control Board, which regulates casino betting, is expected to authorize sports gambling Tuesday. The tournament is one of the most famous sporting events, with millions of gamblers betting more than $8 billion on the game. Next year, the board is expected to finalize rules for online sports betting, so you can bet from your phone.
This is Free Press Sports Editor Chris Thomas. The Michigan State Spartans are Big Ten champions once again, which means the calendar has turned to March. Led by Cassius Winston's 27 points, the Spartans rolled past Ohio State on senior night on Sunday, claiming at least a share of the Big Ten title for the third straight season. Look, MSU has looked more like a roller coaster this season than a unit that was pegged as the number one team in the country. They've been good. They've also been bad. In one game against Purdue, they were downright awful. But that was in the formative months of this season, when Izzo's teams are typically trying to figure themselves out. Back then, Rocket Watts wasn't a spark plug that ignited the Spartans. Back then, Aaron Henry was performing disappearing acts. And back then, Cassius Winston wasn't playing like a National Player of the Year candidate. But he is now. And while it's unlikely that he'll win that award, when that trio of Winston, Watts, and Henry, along with Xavier Tillman, are making shots, defending well and running the court, Michigan State is as good as any team in the country. So yes, the calendar has turned to March. The Big Ten tournament starts this week in Indianapolis, where MSU is the number 2 seed, and Michigan is the number 9. After that is the NCAA tournament, where, as history shows, the teams riding the hot streaks have been known to make runs to the Final Four. Izzo knows this as well as anyone. He's done it time and time again. Oh yeah, that's why they call him Mr. March.
Do you like what you're hearing in our news briefing? Let us know, whether it's a question, comment, or something you just want to hear. You can share your opinion by emailing us at voice@freep.com. That's voice@freep.com. See you tomorrow.